Would you remind me of the timing of the private open house, like how we do that when we know there's a listing coming?
Yeah, great question, Michelle. On this one, actually, we crammed in really tight. This one, we had pictures taken Friday last week. But this week it's going live. So we did private walk around neighborhood last night. Tonight's the private open house, 6 to 8. Friday it goes live on the MLS. Saturday's the open house, and then we're not really in office until Tuesday next week. That's really super tight. What I would rather us do is like back up and do the neighborhood open house maybe like Saturday before.
So it's a full week
Yeah.
for
so
the
that we
actual
can do-
owners to
yeah.
kind of breathe a little bit.
Well, and then not only can the agent have good success door knocking and walking the neighborhood, but we can do more things on our side where we can pull addresses and send slide broadcast voicemails. We can send mail. There's more things that we can do from a broker standpoint to drive more
Well,
traffic to that private.
Based
open
on
house.
that timeline, it also allows you after that private tour, a full 7 days to potentially put a deal together before it goes live as well. I
That
mean,
was my next question.
yeah, you actually have a little bit more time than what this is, for example, but.
Yep, so remember from a GRAR standard of being fair. The minute we put a sign out, the minute we start doing social media marketing, the minute we do anything that this listing's coming soon, it has to go live. It has to you have to put it out there, but if you can put something together before we do any marketing, before we share with anybody. Right, like there's a place indoor right now that Cindy and I'm fairly certain we're gonna put together. In fact, I shared that all with you guys. Just waiting for my guy to get his freaking tax return done. We get him a mortgage. But yeah, this lady's not ready to list her house yet, but she allowed me to take some people through, and the guy loves it and wants it, and we're gonna put an off-market deal together. And we can do that because we haven't promoted it. We haven't. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yep.
So
So they
that-
can already have signed all the paperwork,
Oh,
all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's just as soon as you start marketing or putting a sign in the yard,
Correct.
then you do have to follow through.
Correct. So you really should back it up a week.
Okay.
Sign papers, pictures.
So you're talking about the delayed listing part of it. Where, sorry, repeat what you said just a minute ago, where you were talking about what you can do before you have to put it on Flex.
So GRAR does have a delayed listing addendum that says, hey, even though I'm listing it on this day, say Tuesday, it's not gonna be on the MLS until Friday.
Yeah.
We don't use those. Okay. We sign a coming soon agreement that says we can pre-market the home, okay? And then we sign a listing, you can sign a listing agreement today for a listing that's going live on September 1st.
Okay, and that's our own time.
Well, that's a listing agreement. That's a standard listing. agreement. Right? So if you say, hey, Howie, I'm gonna list my home with you on September 1, you can sign it.
Our listing agreement that's in here, I can have signed today.
Yeah.
Not list the house, and I can sell it off market prior to when, what documentation gets signed to then say I have to put this on.
So it's not the documentation that says it, okay? So per GRAR and per the guidelines, okay, we can pre-market homes. They allow us to pre-market homes. That's part of our coming soon, right? So the coming soon means social media, artificial intelligence, Google ads, pay-per-click ads, for sale sign, right? Like we're hey, this listing's coming. Shouldn't really the world know about it? Okay. That once we start the promotion and put it out there for everyone to see, that is where it's got to go on. Like we're gonna have to list it. We're gonna have to write because we're telling the world it's coming. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, so once we do any kind of social media coming soon, we have to put it on.
Or for sale sign out or whatever, right? This neighborhood private invite, there's no signs out, there's no nothing. Just we're talking to the neighbor saying, hey, we're gonna give you a heads up before we actually start promoting and marketing.
Okay, yeah, I guess we did, the email went out about that, right? So that wasn't technically on social media.
Correct.
I think about.
Well, and again,
I'm seeing the information. So
And the off-market deal like you're trying to put together, there was never we have not advertised it on social media. Like I put one on my private page, hey, this is a home that I know. We have it basically somebody who's in the house that's interested in potentially listing, maybe coming for sale soon. But that was a personal page, not a as a company.
So there's a difference there between personal and business page.
There's not, so
There's not?
as much as I appreciate Mitch's enthusiasm and excitement with that. I think we have to be very clear,
Okay,
right? Or once we start pre-marketing this home to the public, I don't care how.
yeah,
Sure.
I guess.
Personal page, business page, sign, whatever, we gotta list it, we gotta follow.
So
through
that's
with
the
it.
simplicity of it. Once it becomes marketed to the public.
Got it, okay,
in
that
a
makes some
public
sense.
space.
Other than just doing the like what we did.
Sure, like knocking on a door, that's not public, that's that individual.
Kind of it is, I mean, somebody could say it is, but it's not, right?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
we're going out saying, hey. I'm inviting you to a private event just for neighbors, give you a heads up, blah, 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 right?
Cause
Okay,
yeah,
I see
you
the
know, there's
difference in
that, you know, there is that black and white where once you do this, you have to. You know, it doesn't matter if you get $1 million on a $250,000 house, you have to wait till that offer deadline, things like that, when you start signing that paperwork, so just wanna make sure. Don't screw that up, because
Yeah, so the problem will come, okay, if we start to publicly market it, whether it's a personal Facebook page, business, sign, whatever. Then people can screenshot it. Right,
yeah,
and then go to Grind and say, well,
It
you
never
got
actually came
this
for sale,
listing,
yeah.
where's this listing, what's going on, right? It's like, no, we can't do that,
And that,
That's
that,
how we get in trouble.
makes sense,
that's how we get in trouble.
and that makes sense.
And I understand
the
that,
word
but-
of mouth is kind of a gray area.
I don't know if it's a gray area, but I mean, if you're just simply talking to the neighbors, right, just saying,
They can't screenshot.
we're doing this. we can't work, there's nothing-
Well, no, I'm just thinking like right now, I have a couple of buyers who've written out a couple of things, but I don't have a listing agreement for the house. I have photos taken of both houses, we're ready to go,
Mhm.
as soon as we get something, the house is going on the market. Was writing an offer right now, I could have a house on the market Wednesday,
Mhm.
but I've known about this house now for a while. It's definitely something where I can word of mouth.
You should do the private neighborhood, walk the neighborhood, yeah.
Now,
You will generate business.
is
Here-
it too broad to say electronic communication at all is public? Because like if he were to say, hey, here's the house, sends it to the
You
team.
can't do it. Well, we can communicate.
Yeah,
within the
amongst
team.
ourselves.
Okay, perfect. So like if
You
you
can
could
have
say,
the off the market listing. thing,
Yeah,
You're
right,
supposed to have that stuff.
correct, okay,
But here's the deal, guys. Listings are scarce. And listings, if leveraged correctly, should provide 1 to 2 more listings and 3 to 5 more buyers. If you do it well. The salespeople in us want to go, let's get a listing and sold so I get a commission check. The business owner in all of us should say, how do I squeeze out any and all opportunities with this to help them, my client, and me and our business? Does that make sense? So we're talking about a listing squeezation strategy. To help all of us, right? Leslie and I walked away with a couple of opportunities.
what would the limitations be, say Sienna and I would like to go, I mean, I don't know that we have any ability to door knock because we can't represent ourselves as licensed agents because we are not. Do we have ability to go up and basically say, hey, look, you know, we work for a brokerage and, you know, if there was any interest, that's when you start to pivot to, we've got buyer specialists, you know, whatever it might be. Is there any, like, I don't know whether I'd be able to do that at all. I don't know where that would fall into the, again, the guidelines, because I can't.
From a red book guidelines, GRAR guidelines, you could do it if you were with a licensed agent.
Okay, I'd have to be
As an
with
assistant.
somebody.
Yeah.
That
Just
makes
like
sense.
hosting an open house, right?
Yep.
You know, you gotta have a licensed agent there.
That's what I figured, because I was looking through their newsletter yesterday and they did have some specific
Yep.
unlicensed agent kind of reminders,
Do's
if
and
you
don'ts,
will,
and-
yeah,
Yep, so.
okay.
But yeah. Is this making sense, everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanna know the benefit to the seller to doing that. And why they might not want to.
I would say that's usually my problem too. I definitely had a couple instances where I'm like, hey, I've got these people who and you know, you have to do agency too, you know, and where you run some issues with that. But I've pretty much just been honest with any of my sellers and told them, hey, I think they probably make this pretty easy on you, not have open houses, not have 100 people through your house. Got somebody who would be interested, but I'm just telling you in this market right now, I would make more money, get one of these people bidding against each other. So for me, recently. Telling my sellers, putting it on the market, we're likely gonna net you more money. Rather than bringing somebody in and, hey, you're comfortable, you're getting 300, and these people are happy, they're buying for 300, so both parties are happy. Like I said, that's dual agency, which we don't do, but. Knowing that if I put it on markup, they'll probably get down at 325, 330, so that is, yeah, that's the hard part, and I've told a couple of my clients that, I'm like, hey, I could bring someone here. But it'd be doing you a disservice, because if you want to get top dollar, put it on the market. That's how I felt recently, and that's happened with every single house, because the last few listings I've had have gone for exponentially more than I would have even imagined.
So I guess like my question is, how do you
So-
present it to your seller to say, hey, I'd like to do this private open house for your neighbors? How does that?
So. In your listing presentation, and we're gonna update the seller book, right? Here's all of the things that we have found. To help do what? Drive more traffic to your house.
So just say it that way, not as like
And because it
a
is,
money
right? Like,
reason.
what do you mean by that?
Like what, to his point, putting it on the market will probably get you more money. But it won't drive as much traffic as if we also have this second open house just for the
I
neighborhood.
think you're saying,
Let
like,
me-
if
let
the neighbor were to say, hey, my friend's interested, they wanna buy the house, right? So that would be
Right.
before it's going on market.
Right.
But you're not gonna get a whole bunch of offers, you have one neighbor who wants you to sell it to their friend.
Right.
Right?
What are the? I want you to put them in order for me, okay? There are really two reasons you're doing this. So I'm gonna phrase it better. There are two reasons why we would propose to a seller. We're gonna do a private by invitation only neighborhood open house. What are the two reasons?
Bring more people through your house.
And. Not necessarily why to them, but why, I mean, that's
I mean, you
benefit to them, that's their benefit.
And then the other benefit to them would be that they might not have to deal with the hassle of
Nope,
everything else.
what if it's a shared benefit? What if the number one benefit to your seller is? You're walking the neighborhood. Telling people about their house to drive more traffic to their house. Would you like me to do that for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? Because no one else does that. Is that a huge benefit to you, Mrs. Seller? Yes, it is. Nobody's gonna say no to that. Who would say no to that ever? Okay. Number two benefit is to me. What are the national statistics? Phil knows this because I've said it 100 times. What percentage of the time is a house sold at an open house, from the open house? So why are you doing an open house, Michelle? Because it appeases them and they see you working and they like it.
Okay.
Okay. You're appeasing them, you're doing more. We're doing a public open house and a private open house. Aren't I amazing? Don't you love me? And they do. Like, we stopped at this gal's house before we started, handed her a brochure. We're gonna spend the next hour or two walking her neighborhood. Oh, that's great. And this brochure looks great. Thanks, guys. And we're so excited we're out there working for her. Who does not want their agent out there working for them?
That makes sense.
It's a huge benefit.
So you're really not even bringing up any money.
The
parts
what
about
ifs. You're going down the what if
it.
squirrel hole.
That's what I do.
You are good at them, I'll tell you. You find some good ones.
What ifs? So, number one benefit, I'm working harder than any other agent, and I'm doing more than any other agent does to market your home and drive traffic to it. And this is the ways we do it. Benefit number two, you don't even talk to them about it, but benefit two is you get people go, yeah, we'd like to know how much our house is worth. Because did you know that this house coming for sale has directly affected the value of yours? It has? Yeah, would you like to learn how? Yeah, actually, we would. How easy is that? I'm getting more business. I have more people that want to find out what their house is worth, and I get to meet with them, do market analysis.
I definitely understand that it's beneficial to me.
So.
I just wondered what the seller would, maybe say. Like what had, and you've answered it, so I don't, didn't necessarily again, but like. I was just curious, like how to present it as a beneficial thing to them as well.
Hugely beneficial. You went down the road of, well, what if, when I'm doing it, the neighbor has a friend, they want to buy the house, they want an inside scoop, they want to, well. It's pretty high. Maybe not, maybe it won't.
But you got a team of specialists here to represent them if you need them. And you still get a referral.
I mean, right, that's obviously handles the dual agency piece, but what Michelle's concerned about is. Does that really, in her mind, she's processing. Does that really help the seller to bring an offer without letting everybody compete and bring the offer? Right, what Adam was talking about, and the answer is yes. Because you're driving traffic. Now, here's what happens, right? And what Adam said was true, I would probably say it a little differently. When I had that call last night, I put a sign in the yard at the other listing coming live indoor. We haven't walked in the neighborhood with nothing yet. I got a call from an agent from 616. I have clients whose parents live across the street. Any chance we can get in there because they're going away camping for the weekend. They're not gonna get the open houses, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so I don't know, I'll call my seller, Yeah, they come through. They come through at 6 last night. While I'm walking the neighborhood, my phone is blowing up by this other agent. Are you okay if the dad just takes the signs down, we write you a full price offer? Are you okay if we, like, will they take a check, cash? Like she's just bombarded me with. Okay. Said, well, I don't know. I'll talk to the seller and get back to you. Remember, the signs are up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a delayed offers signed with that?
Yeah, we're gonna do the wait till Tuesday next week.
So then you're in stone.
Don't lie.
But I'm in stone because I put the sign out.
Yes.
So I talked to Casey and I said, hey, here's the text, here's this, I'm pretty ballsy. I said, obviously that buyer wants the inside track and just wants to buy, it doesn't want to have to compete. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. The only negative to saying no to them and following through with the open house and continued marketing and right is if that frustrates them to go, we're out. Right? Meaning they could go, well, screw you then. You won't work with us, we're not gonna work with you, we're not gonna go compete with other people. That's the only negative. And based upon all the text and everything I'm hearing, that ain't gonna happen. So there's your downside, there's the risk. Everything else is upside. There's no guarantee it's gonna go for more or over asking price. But odds are pretty high that if we can generate more interest, that is gonna be better for you. It's a different way of saying it than it's probably gonna sell for 20, 30, 40 grand higher. Does that make sense, Adam?
That's why I'm here, Howie. I mean, here to listen to that wordsmith, Howie.
The wordsmith.
But it's important because when you start throwing numbers out like that, what are they're hearing that? Oh, my house goes up for 30 grand more. And then when it doesn't.
Sure. And
So it's-
that's just it. Is I'm not necessarily telling you that. I'm just saying, hey, using examples, and that's pretty much how I talk to any client. I find myself referring to something that I've done recently or something that I've seen recently or, whatever, maybe whether it's buy or sell.
I mean, the reality is,
hey, I can't guarantee this is gonna happen, but this happened or this happened.
Casey, here's what I know. Still a seller's market. Right? There's low inventory. Here's what I know. We haven't finished all of our marketing, open houses, nothing, right? Like everything is an upside. The only downside is these people get pissed off. Now, if you feel emotionally connected because you know the neighbor across the street and you'd love to sell it to them and that's important to you versus, letting us do our job and seeing what we can get for you at a price, then I respect that. It's your choice, but that's the only downside. So you let them make a decision.
You can also remember, you can negotiate. They're kind of showing their hands, their neighbor, they obviously want a home in that neighborhood. You have a little room. You know that they want that home, negotiate it.
I'll share the lat.
They might even
I
be
think
able-
Derek wants to say something.
Okay, hang on just a second there. So this back and forth, I'll pull the signs back and forth, okay? I say, so let me know that, you know, they're gonna wait, blah, blah, blah. Home will be on MLS on Friday, open us Saturday 11 to 1. I said, hopefully your people will, you know, I'd love to work with you next week when we're all in a minute. What if they wrote over asking price now? I mean, just continue to push. I said, next week, sorry. Then finally, okay, thanks. Right?
I was that guy last week.
Yeah, I feel like everybody in this room's been that person.
But well, it was a little different scenario because the house had a deadline for Sunday. And Monday I called on it and they didn't get any offers. So my people wanted to go see it on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was like, okay, I'll get it scheduled, and then I sat there for an hour at home and went, we need to see it tonight.
Yeah.
We went and saw it that night, wrote them a full price offer, but asked for like $5,000 in concessions or something like that. And they were like, well, since you know it's back on market or whatever, not back on
And
market.
never, I said,
but,
never was off.
you know, not that it didn't go back on market, but that it, you know, went through, now people are realizing this house is still here.
Right.
She says, we've got, you know, 8 showings tomorrow. And then when I talked to her later, we've got a dozen showings tomorrow. We've got 17 over the next 2 days. So then I, you know, back and forth with her constantly about trying to get our offer accepted right now. And I think they even had showings that night. I was trying to cancel those. And so then we had them dropping our, you know, concessions, gave them full price. They came back at $5,000 over. I'm talking to my people, I'm like,
Sell it, done.
we did. And we actually just got the appraisal back and they still have like 10 grand of equity in it.
Good stuff.
But
That's a success story is what that is.
But yeah, I was totally that person where I was calling her, cancel, take her off,
Yeah.
let's go. Send
Yeah.
it, you submit
It's
it.
what Darren's
send it.
all the extra work, right? So
Yeah,
just keep in mind, you can't go down squirrel home of the logistics and the what if, right?
I know, but it helps me understand the big picture and present things like. What happens.
There's two huge opportunities. The seller gets more interest and sees you working harder, appreciates that. And you get opportunities to get more customers to add to your database. Leslie is adding all these people who do her database. And gonna be dripping on them and nurturing and following up and doing PMAs and.
Yeah.
It's huge.